Welcome back to another YouTube video, and thanks for taking along in the adventure. If you haven't done so already, smash that subscribe button. Tag along, we've got lots of fun coming up. I wanted to give you guys 3 major points to why this drone met and exceeded my expectations, and why, to me, this is the best drone on the market for what I'm trying to do. And if you're trying to do what I'm trying to do, obviously it will be the best drone for you as well. So I use this drone for content creation with my car stuff, car meets, bicycle, motorcycle, all kinds of things. But this is really where I got sponsorships and how I got sponsorships and why I got sponsorships. And I've been told by a few of my sponsors that I'm one of the smaller channels they sponsored, but I produce some of the best and most consistent and most quantity of content for them. From just pictures that look so good they look fake and photoshopped because of what this does internally, and it had almost nothing to do with me. I just found a nice spot, I parked my car nicely, it was clean, I took a picture, and the drone did everything. And then I sent it to the companies that have sponsored, collaborated, or worked with me, and they are very pleased and use the footage for their business purposes, and helps me help them. So my 3 key points and how I use my Mavic Pro. One was battery life. The battery life on the Mavic Pro, I get 16, 17, 18, 19, sometimes 20 minutes, depending, because I would fly close to the car. I'd be doing circles around the car very slowly, very little wind. I'm never far from home, the home point. So that was never an issue. This is another ballgame. I was flying this for the maiden voyage on a cool day, and it was up there for so long that I was actually almost disappointed. I was cold and I wanted to leave, but I was like, you know what, we'll fly out this battery. And it was like, okay, I get it, we're still going. And it just flew and flew and flew and flew. It was crazy. It was like 28 minutes on one battery, and it was windy, and I was flying in sport mode, and everything was amazing. So that was amazing. Number 2 is the ND filters that come with it. I always wanted ND filters for my Mavic Pro. I thought they were super cool. I understood the value. I understood from watching creators like Peter McKinnon as to why you would want an ND filter. But it just was like, every month I'd buy car mods. I wouldn't have money for anything else, or whatever would transpire. And the ND filters were so low on the list of priority that I never was splurging on them. So that never happened. But now this came with them, and it came in a beautiful case, and they're super easy to change, and everything about them is so good that I have no reason to not use them. So I flew the sample footage in today's video using the ND 16 filter. I'm not an expert at ND filters. I'm not an expert at which intensity to use in which situation. So I just put one on. It was a sunset. There was lots going on. I was flying mostly auto settings for the camera. I will figure out manual settings. I almost always exclusively run manual settings on all the cameras. I operate, including GoPro, and a lot of them that are strictly designed to be auto. But once you turn it into manual and you know how the settings work, you get great content. So those are the 2 on the drone. And then the 3rd one is the controller. The controller itself is an absolute wilderness level of improvement. So this button on here on the front, this little toggle, that is tripod, normal, and sport. I rarely flew my old drone in sport because the button was on the back side and I wasn't paying that much attention. It turns the sensors off. Lots of things transpire between the 2, and I was always just like, you know what, I don't need it. What I did do always is I would take the drone off, I would go into flight modes, I would select tripod mode, and I would get my smooth shots. It's easier to film a slow-mo shot flying slow and smooth, and then add in a higher frame rate that you can slow down further and just get the most buttery cinematic shots, or speed them up to get a normal shot but smoother, because the drone's not fighting wind and fighting logistics. It's just flying great. So the fact that I get to take this off and just go tripod mode, done, boom, we're flying. And it's when you actually go into tripod mode, it says cinematography mode or something, and I'm like, yeah, of course, that's what it is. So that's like, it's amazing how much more I've used all 3, because I almost exclusively flew in tripod mode. I'd occasionally leave it in normal, but rarely, and then never use sport mode. Well, now I've used all 3 almost 30% of the time, because it is so fast and easy to use. And the controller with the joysticks coming off, it's a big small thing, because the controller is much thinner because you don't have the joystick. but I also don't need to put the piece on it. I'm far less concerned about the controller going in and out, and I do keep the bonus joysticks that come with it. It comes with an extra set. I do keep those in the bag in case I ever pull the controller out and there's one missing, and I'm like, well, that sucks. I can order more, but I'm not going to lose today's flight, which is really good. The controller is just such an improvement. The antenna being integrated into the controller mount is huge. The controller being above actually was more ergonomic, which is a little thing, but it was really nice. And then just the absolute simplicity. Less buttons, there's no screen. It's just what you need. And I'm following all the flight data on my phone. I always followed my flight data. I want to know how high off the ground I am. I want to know how far from the controller I am. I want to know all of these parameters so I have an idea of what's going on with the drone. It's just a rapid improvement. But I will say this little toggle switch is my number 3, which might seem simple, but when you're flying as much as I try to, I think I'm somewhere around 300 flights between this drone and my first drone. We've flown hundreds of kilometers. We've flown all over the province. Like we've had a lot of fun as a drone operator and as a drone flying. It's been quite the adventure, but it's amazing to see this is the best of everything I had. And like it is a little more agile. It is a little more this and a little more that. The rear sensors are nice. I haven't really used it. The smart, intelligent obstacle avoidance does work really well. I turned it on, didn't know what it was. It flew at my car and it just smoothly went over. And I was like, well, that would eliminate me needing to know how to orient all the joysticks while I'm focused on my pan. So I have just multiple flight modes going on all the time to get the cool like rolling shots over top of the car, which I feel like it's important to know as a drone operator, but it's also nice that I can set this up and confidently rely on it. Knowing that this is generations later, knowing that this has had updates since release, gives me so much more confidence in the flying characteristics of this drone and my overall comfort of having it in the air. I know how it's going to perform because I know how my other one would perform, but then it's just blowing everything out of the water. Everybody comments how quiet it is. I can't say it's world's quieter than my Mavic Pro, but I also haven't flown it in a little while, so maybe it is, but it still makes a pretty good little buzz noise when it's doing a full sprint over top of a lake. I can hear it buzz pretty good, but again, that's not a bad thing. It just, my ears have a general direction of where it is and how fast it's going. So that's it. Absolutely incredible drone. I just wanted to share with you my top 3. As always, Top Hat Plus, drive safe, take care, and behave. Subscribe if you haven't. Take care.